Fellow citizens, the situation in our country has reached yet another level. Western sanctions have no jurisdiction on the Kingdom of Zimbabwe or their removal, but only traditional sanctions, which are in effect by custodians of the empire for an indefinite period, a signal for resistance and revolution. Effective 15th-17th of August 2024, decentralized protests shall commence at dawn nationwide, 24/7, within Zimbabwe and its borders, with the main event scheduled at New Parliament Building in Mount Hamden, Harare, ahead of Troika organ and during the 44th SADC Summit Heads of State section. In solidarity are political organizations, civic organizations, veterans, activists, medical professionals, teachers, students, vendors, cross-border traders, youth, mothers, touts, etc. within SADC states, with rest of diaspora, to make procession at Zimbabwe embassies and promenade with placards. The rights to protest are in Section 59 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states, every person has the right to freedom of assembly and association, including the right to form and join and participate in the activities of a political party, or to form, join, and participate in the activities of a civil society organization. With SADC, Article 6 of the SADC Treaty states, member states shall cooperate to promote democratic principles and practices, including free and fair elections and respect for human rights and the rule of law. Article 17 of the SADC Protocol on Politics, Defense and Security Cooperation of 2001 outlines, state parties shall promote and protect the rights of individuals to assemble, associate and express themselves freely. With regards to African Union, Article 10 of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance of 2007 and Article 11 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights of 1951 guarantees the rights of citizens to participate in the electoral processes, including the right to assemble, associate, and express themselves freely. Commonwealth Article 5 of the Commonwealth Charter of 2013 recognizes the importance of freedom of expression and assembly and the right to participate in the conduct of public affairs, including the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative's Harare Declaration of 1991, which affirms the right to freedom of assembly and association, essential to democratic society. With the European Union, Article 11 of the European Convention on Human Rights of 1950 and Article 12 of the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union of 2000 state, every person has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and to freedom of association at all levels, in particular in political, trade union, and civic matters. With United Nations, Article 20 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 and Article 21 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights of 1966 states, everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No restrictions may be placed on the exercises of this right. Our demands to 44th SADC Summit. We demand fresh elections in Zimbabwe 2024. 2. We demand reversal of SADC chairmanship. 3. We demand freedom to all political prisoners and the rule of law. Currently, Zimbabwe, from the announcement of the SADC Summit, political prisoners are languishing in prison. This includes political leader Jameson Timber, 78 others, students, and a mother with a 1-year-old baby in prison. 4. we demand to the end of military rule and restoration of civil governance. The problem in Zimbabwe is not ZANU-PF, it's the military which imposed Emerson Mnangagwa through the 2017 coup, and they even further castigated with 2018 military shootings. Today, the Monsanto Commission of Inquiry has not yet been resolved and must be put on agenda during the SADC summit. The summit must be extraordinary. 5. We demand the justice for Murambatsvina and Gokurahundi victims. More than 4 million Zimbabweans are displaced and homeless, with over 50,000 butchered by the ZANU-PF regime. They have not yet faced justice to date. 6. The Zambia and Zimbabwe conflict must be put on resolution. It must be on agenda during the SADC summit. It is a threat to the regional security. We cannot take it lightly because a head of state has been threatened. Number 7, we demand a treaty on the SADC on refugees and asylum seekers. As we speak, there is no peace in Mozambique, there is no peace in Angola, there is no peace in DRC. There is xenophobic attacks taking place in South Africa. Any given time, there has never been justice for these victims. And this leads us to even ask why is it only SADC which cannot have one regional passport? You go to the East African community, they have one passport. You go to the Western region, you go to all the other parts. They discuss all these matters. There is free trade, there is free movement. It's only SADC which meets on ceremonial matters. We demand on aid, anti-corruption. There's a lot of corruption, looting within SADC region. It's the wealthiest, with enough oil, with enough diamonds, with enough gold, with enough chrome, with enough platinum, with enough copper, with enough coal. There's no mineral that you can mention. Yet the poorest wants the fruit of Africa, the breadbasket of Africa. We are now the suckers of Africa. 9, we demand the health and sanitation in Zimbabwe to be restored. This has affected many innocent civilians. There's been cholera, there's been typhoid, there's been COVID. The health system in Zimbabwe is not working. These are human rights violations which are not being attended to. We demand this to be fixed. In conclusion, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces mandate in Section 212 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe is to protect Zimbabwe, its people, its national security, interests, territorial integrity, and uphold the Constitution of Zimbabwe, not taking over ZANU-PF or interference with democratic processes. Peaceful protests shall be conducted on 15th-17th of August 2024. Muchida musingade, lifuna lingafuni. Any form of interference by the Zimbabwe Defense Forces will lead to radical resistance, out of control, with deployment of SADC and UN peacekeepers readily on standby. Chinovondoka chete. There is global consensus with electoral observer mission reports from SADC, EU, Commonwealth, African Union, Keta Center, etc. on the political crisis in Zimbabwe. No abductions, threats, intimidations, incarcerations can derail the revolution or justify the fraudulent elections of 2023. Our forebears have marked the path during the first and second Chimrenga. Umvukela. It cannot be in vain they lost their lives. It cannot be for Chivayo. It cannot be for the Mnangagwa family dynasty that they lost their lives. United Nations Security Council, both 1979-2008, have stepped in on Zimbabwe and can resolve the crisis during the 79th section with recommendations from SADC should they cowardly fail to act upon Zimbabwe during the 44th summit. Parliament is welcome for any impeachment or resignation by Emmerson Mnangagwa during the transitional period. The duty of citizens is to defend the vote of 23-24 August 2023 towards President Advocate Nelson Chamisa, the recalled MPs and councillors who won. Fresh elections 2024 with prior electoral and security reforms is way forward. For the avoidance of doubt, ballot papers were printed overnight during the shambolic harmonized elections, with electorate in queues overnight. There is surplus time and resources for fresh elections 2024. A revolution will take an alignment on pillars of power from traditional, military and electorate. To remove ZANU-PF will take more than an election. A luta continua.